Absolute Joker is the most serious person in the Absolute Justice League, because instead of being composed of characters like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, the Absolute Justice League is made up of all the main Absolute villains like Joker, Ra's al Ghul, Eleanor Thawne, and more. Now, initially our issue reveals that a lot of heroes in this universe are corrupt and traitors, because it picks up at a board meeting back in 1951 with a group of people known as the Un-American Activities Committee listening to Hawkman express that the fellow heroes he was working with in the JLA were a bunch of commie rats, and he was willing to tell them anything they wanted to know about them, even at the cost of revealing his own secret identity. Our story then jumps over to Oliver Queen talking to Roy Harper while practicing his shot with a bow and arrow inside of the Arrow Caves archery range. And after nailing 2 bullseyes with ease and joking around with Roy for a little bit, Ollie decided to take a break by heading over to his garage, where he then expressed that this new cave of his had everything he needed, because on top of the custom archery range, it was also outfitted with an unbelievable computer setup and a convertible with ejector seats that he designed himself. And while we don't get to hear Roy's side of the conversation, it's safe to assume that he eventually tells Ollie that he's kind of concerned with what Ollie's doing, because apparently the main reason that he acquired this new cave and everything inside of it was so he could stop a man named Jubal Slade who was trafficking kids to a private island and getting away with it because he was paying off cops and paying off the court system. But despite Roy strongly suggesting that he stay out of this out of fear that Ollie was gonna get hurt, Ollie's mind had already been made, expressing that there wasn't any point to having a bunch of money if he wasn't gonna try to use it to try making a difference in the world. Our story then goes over to an undisclosed facility with Hector Hammond, an absolute Green Lantern villain, talking to Jubal Slade himself on the phone while making his way to an important meeting. And knowing that Ollie was coming after him, Jubal was overcome by fear and concern, but Hammond was certain he had nothing to worry about, stating that this whole situation would go away in a month when they offered Ollie a bribe of $5 million. Once their conversation was over though, Hammond would enter a room where he was greeted by Veronica Kell from the Absolute Wonder Woman series, Absolute Joker and Ra's al Ghul, and Eleanor Thawne from Absolute Flash. And once Hammond took a seat, everybody realized that he wasn't taking things serious upon requesting a macchiato. So Ra's al Ghul quickly shut down his sarcastic and witty nature, indicating that the room they were in was not for playing games. It was a room where they didn't speak unless they were speaking of work, which was something that Eleanor Thawne agreed with because she was firm in the belief that time was their greatest asset, so they shouldn't be wasting such a precious thing on his little jokes. And that's when the Joker decided to chime in as well, agreeing with his fellow allies before stating that he wasn't a person who enjoyed jokes. Nevertheless, eventually it was time for Veronica Kell to address why they were holding this meeting in the first place, that reason being the new Absolute heroes. Because for the first time in history, the system of power in this world was being threatened by